picture of the BB snow and its last run. How do you feel with it?
Well, it's one of those things in your life you hate to see go. It's been part of my life for 25 years.
How about it? Rails coming back. It's great that we're here today, so I wanted to welcome you on behalf of a number of our partners, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, the Scranton Chamber, the Pocono Mountains Chamber, and NEPO Lines. So we're happy to have you here today, and our purpose here is twofold. Number one, it's to really celebrate something that's been decades in the making. And number two is to kind of talk a little bit about next steps and what we really need to do to get this to fruition, but we're on that road. So while I'm up here, I do want to welcome everybody joining us live from the Pocono Television Network, and especially those folks on WTPN 2.8 Wilmington, Philadelphia. We're happy to have you guys watching us and also streaming wherever you are. So, however, before we start, a couple of things we have to do. There's another little video we would like to roll. So, gentlemen, if you do that.
Well, this is a great day for northeastern Pennsylvania. People have been working on this for decades. We've not had this service since 1970. All of this really comes about because of the community support, people understanding that this could move the region forward?
Well, today is the celebration of the FRA's announcement of the inclusion of the Scranton-New York train, thankfully, because of the federal transportation bill that was supported by Congressman Cartwright and Senator Casey.
A transportation infrastructure connection is only going to grow jobs, business, the community, recreation. It's a great day for Scranton.
It's unbelievable. It's a once-in-a-generation investment. It's great for the area to actually reconnect us back to the city.
It would be great for people to have the opportunity to travel.
When we started off doing this 40 years ago, these rail lines were actually being ripped up by the private railroads. So we stepped in to save them because we knew at some point in the future, things could turn around. Amtrak has already estimated that our corridor, Scranton-New York City, will generate $84 million in economic development activity per year.
But only Matt Cartwright is the one to get it done, and I'm so proud of him because he has stuck with it, and the mayor stuck with it, and I'm just so glad to see it come to fruition.
It's going to be great for tourism, property values, quality of life. It's going to be tremendous all around.
We have a lot of New Yorkers who've come to make the Poconos our home, and the return of this train after 40 years will be a wonderful connection. We're just so excited about it.
And it really is the missing piece. It allows us to continue to create opportunities both for our residents to go to New York, but also for people to come here and see the great things we have.
The investment that's coming back to our area will bring in millions more tourists, and we're already hosting 30 million tourists a year in the Pocono Mountains.
Our train is coming from New York to Scranton, and we want to say, everybody get all aboard.
It's an excellent, exciting thing that we get to celebrate about people that will be able to take this train into New York. Young families, kids, the shows, just be able to, jobs. It's this, I can't go on enough about this.
East Stroudsburg is ready, willing, and able to have our station set up. We're excited. It's a big step forward.
Finally, the train is coming. It's been talk of the town for many years now. The residents and business owners of Stroudsburg are excited for the opportunity to visit New York City very easily, and vice versa.
And bringing the train to Scranton, Pennsylvania is a huge improvement.
This means a lot for our Northeast community. It means for tourism, it means for our universities, it means for commuters back and forth. It's exciting, and it is needed for economics of Pennsylvania.
The train is coming. We've talked about it for decades, and we're within a few years going to be able to get on the train, which is, as we know, very effective and convenient and highway and environmentally friendly way to travel.
Finally it's here. Scranton is more ready than ever to take on new, exciting things, have businesses come and start here, have entrepreneurs based here, have new families come and start their lives here in Scranton. All aboard!
Ladies and gentlemen, that was great. That one thing that we've seen through this whole process is the spirit of bipartisanship between local, state, and federal officials has been unmatched. And we have two quick recognitions. One are for the elected officials right to our left and right. A big hand for them. This has been a great bipartisan We do have one small piece of business before we get into the program, and like I'd like to ask Marlon to come up. We have 2 awards to give this evening. We'll make it very quick. And the PMVB Chairman's Award. The PMVB Board recently established the Chairman's Award to recognize an individual or organization that has made a significant contribution to the tourism and hospitality industry by undertaking an extraordinary act. The reestablishment of passenger rail service to northeastern Pennsylvania after more than a 50-year hiatus will serve to attract significant economic development. And yes, tourism is a form of economic development, as well as enhance the quality of life for the residents of communities within NEPA. The PMVB is grateful for the decades of effort, and I have to underscore and emphasize that, by so many. There's a lot of people who are involved in this, many people, in bringing this dream to life. And I'd like to present the Chairman's Award to, first, Congressman Matt Cartwright. Yeah. versus when things go right. He has been a stalwart. Every team needs an amazing coach, and this man is incredibly amazing, and I'm happy to call him a friend. But there's also somebody else in the room who really, every time I would go somewhere, I would say to people that there are a few people that kept the home fires burning. That's an expression my grandma always said. And there are a number of folks that did that, but the one that we really have to recognize right now is the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Railroad Authority. They, with Bob Hay as chairman, have done yeoman's work in addition to all the folks that we have recognized this evening to keep that home fires burning. So on behalf of the PMVB chairman, we would like to present an award also to President Larry Molesky. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate that. Now, a gentleman who needs no introduction, his reputation precedes him in a very positive way. I would like to introduce for you this evening Congressman Matt Cartwright.
Anybody having fun tonight? Well, we've reached the interactive part of tonight's speeches. I'm going to ask you a question, and there's a suggested answer, and the answer is we do. Who wants to add $84 million a year every year to the local economy? Yeah. Who wants to put in the kind of tourism dollars that make Chris Barrett salivate? Who wants to create jobs and more jobs and better paying jobs right here in northeastern Pennsylvania? We do. Who wants to make our local economy so strong that if our kids want to make it big, they don't have to move away? We do. And so much money, who wants to add so much money to our tax base that our seniors don't have to bear so much of the burden of the local taxes? We do. Who wants to take 414,000 cars off the road every year so we don't keep pouring carbon pollution in the air and money into widening our roadways? We do. Who wants to stop sending our federal tax money away to other places so they can have amenities like train service? Who? We do. Who wants to take a train to Manhattan? We do. Who wants to get this done? We do. Well, I do too, ladies and gentlemen. Since I was elected, I've been working on this project. It wasn't my fault. It was guys like Larry Molesky and Bob Hay and Dominic Keating. When I first got elected, they landed on me like I was a loose football and said, "You got to work on this project." And I said, "Okay. Look, this is," and what we did, you don't do this yourself. You do this as part of a team. And we have this wonderful team of people who joined right in and have been just a driving force in Pennsylvania for it. And I want to focus particularly on our state legislators, and a bunch of them you heard on the video already, but are here tonight as well. We got Senator Marty Flynn. Will you come up and stand with me, Marty? We got Senator Rosemary Brown. Come on up. We got former Senator John Blake. Get up here, John. Come on, don't be bad, Get up here. Stand with me. I'm proud to stand with you. We got Representative Kyle Mullins, Representative Kyle Donahue, Representative Bridget Kozorowski. We got Representative Tara Probst in the house. Come on up, Tara. These people have been pushing in Harrisburg. In Harrisburg, if we didn't have Harrisburg support, we'd be dead in the water. And the best part of all of this? is our governor, Josh Shapiro. Yes. I'm on the phone 2 weeks into his first term. He's on the phone with me on January 14, and Josh Shapiro and I are talking about this rail project, and I only spent 25 minutes talking him through the economic development, all of the political support, every reason we need to have this train. I spent 25 minutes on the phone with him, and what did he do? He breathed new life into this project. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what he said. He heard what I had to say. He said, Matt, stop. He said, I'm in. I'm all in. This is exactly what government is supposed to be doing. Folks, the federal government, under the IIJA, is paying through the Federal Rail Authority 80%. We get to part 3, which we all anticipate will happen. The federal government pays for 80% of the construction of this train system, and Josh Shapiro came up and he pledged $125 million local match from Pennsylvania and the support of PennDOT. That's how you know our governor gets it. You know our governor cares about northeastern Pennsylvania. That's how you know it's different this time. That's how you know it's really going to happen this time. So get together with me now. Let's say his name. Say his name with me, everybody. Say his name and thanks for all northeastern Pennsylvania. He can't be here tonight, so let's say his name so loud he can hear us all the way from Pocono Manor in Harrisburg. Say his name with me. Josh, 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 Josh. Yeah, thank you, Josh Shapiro. Legislative heroes who are making it happen, and thanks to all of you for keeping the pressure on all of the legislators to make sure it happens as well. We're going to put a big shot in the arm of northeastern Pennsylvania with the jobs, with the economic development, and with the amenity of having this wonderful, easy train ride to New York City, all the way from Scranton. Folks, we're going to answer some detailed questions a little bit later, but I just wanted to thank all these great legislators for their support. Thank you. I also want to recognize Representative Jack Rader came in the room. Jack, thank you for your support. There it is. And before I sit down, a couple of other dignitaries you should know about. Amtrak Vice President Nicole Busich is in the room. There she is. And one of my favorite people in northeastern Pennsylvania, former Congressman Paul Kanjorski is in the room.
Thank you, Congressman. Now to hear from some of the folks in the coalition, Tyler Kuzma, who is Scranton Rail Restoration Coalition Executive Director.
Hello, everyone. First off, thank you so much for coming out here tonight. When I started the Scranton Rail Restoration Coalition in 2019, I started because there was no grassroots group dedicated for this project. But look around tonight. This is a project that the public supports. This is a project that the public wants. And I can truly say that today is a pinch me moment. Here we are at the beautiful Kalahari Resort, celebrating our project getting selected for federal funding. How many of you can't believe that we're here today? Because I know when I first started this, I talked about it at Thanksgiving, and my grandmother, who is here tonight, said, this train has been 5 years away for 25 years. But no longer. This project is happening. Now, one question I've gotten a couple of times over the years is why I care so much about this proposed train service. It's a fair question. This is not usually how 20-somethings spend their time. But this project is not about Amtrak. It's not even about trains. This project is about the family that will be able to go to the Poconos without mom or dad having to drive. This project is about the college student that's looking for a convenient way to get home for winter break. This project is about the guy in North Jersey who's looking to go into the city and see the sights. This project is about the young woman in New York City who's excited to see Scranton, her favorite, or the city from her favorite show, The Office. This project has never been about a train. No, this project has always been about connecting people and connecting communities. But one thing I've loved about this project is how it has brought people together. This is not a Democratic project, this is not a Republican project, this is an American project. This project is supported by people who were on the last train in 1970. This project is supported by my fellow Gen Zers. We found love for environmentalists, and we've got multiple chambers of commerce who have come in support. And since I mentioned the chambers, I might as well highlight the economic impact that this train is expected to generate. So I mentioned before that Amtrak estimates $84 million a year from this train, plus $2.9 billion from building it. Now, I'm no business genius. I graduated with a degree in political science, but I can tell you that's a lot of money coming into our region thanks to this train. Now, I would be remiss if I did not take the opportunity to thank the public officials who got us to this point. I will also apologize in advance because there have been so many people who worked on this over the decades that I am sure to forget someone. First off, I want to thank Congressman Matt Cartwright. You have been a leader on this project for as long as you've been in Congress, and you and your office have been instrumental in bringing people together. John Blake, you have done great work as Congressman Cartwright's district director. But I also want to highlight and thank you for everything you did as our state senator. On a personal note, I'm here today because of Senator Blake. Senator Blake, when he was a state senator, had a program where he invited local high school seniors to come and learn about state government called the Student Ambassadors Program. I was selected my senior year to represent Abington Heights. Go Comets. And one day during the session, he told us about the possibility of train service between New York and Scranton. It immediately made me curious, and I wanted to learn everything about it and how I could get involved and how I could make it reality. Senator Blake, we didn't realize it that day, but you changed my life that day, and I can never thank you enough. I also want to give a special shout out to Governor Josh Shapiro. We are here today because of the support Governor Shapiro has given this project. Under his leadership, PennDOT has been a strong and active partner, and they produce a truly excellent application for federal funding. He got New Jersey Transit on board and to sign on to the application, which was huge. And of course, I must also thank Secretary Mike Carroll, who was a fantastic ally when he was in the House and is now continuing to fight the good fight as Secretary of Transportation. Larry Mowski and Charlene Doyle of the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Rail Authority have been tireless and advocates for this project. In fact, Larry has been working on this for over 40 years, longer than I've been alive. Larry, I'm grateful that you're not just a fellow advocate, but now a friend. Our region owes you a great debt for everything you've done to get us to today. And I will stop it there, because if I were to say everything great about Larry, I would go well over my 5 minutes. I would also like to thank the representatives of Amtrak who are here today. The support of Amtrak has truly been a game changer for this event. Plus, fortunately for me, I can't wait to accumulate Amtrak guest rewards when I take the train. Finally, I want to thank all of you, the over 10,000 of you who have signed a petition, posted to social media, emailed friends and family, talked to your neighbors about this project. Together, we engage in the sacred and deeply American tradition of petitioning the government and making them hear our voice. And look around, they heard us. We are here today because of all of you. I say to my fellow citizens, to my neighbors, today is your victory. Today is a great day. Today is an exciting day, but today is not the finish line. While the work has shifted towards the governments and Amtrak to figure out implementation, I urge you all to continue to make your voice heard. We cannot drop the ball when we are so close to the finish line. I firmly believe that this project is no longer a question of if, but when. But that does not mean we get to rest on our laurels. Continue spreading the word, continue contacting your elected officials. I'll close today as I have closed every email to our supporters. Let's get the trains back. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Two more shout outs. We would like to welcome Kristen Magnotta from Senator Casey's office. Kristen, thank you so much. Some of you know, you saw Senator Casey's comments. He's been an incredible advocate at the federal level, along with Matt, so we thank him. Also, Dear Representative Danilo Burgos is here. Representative. So now this part of the program is to kind of talk about what the next steps are. And first I would like to call upon the Secretary of Transportation, Mike Carroll. Mike.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is called winning. We win. We've won before. We'll win again. But we won this time. And we won this time because of unbelievable support that has existed, as has been said, for decades. And Larry Malski and Bob Hay, those two gentlemen deserve tons of credit for all they have done advancing this project to where we are tonight. I know of their dedication. It oozes out of them every time you talk to them with respect to the train. Woo! 4 letters on this hand, IIJA, 3 on this hand, BIL. The same thing. Federal Transportation Bill. We are not here tonight if that does not pass. It passed because Matt Cartwright and Bob Casey, our federal representatives at the time, voted yes. Lots of people are for things. Lots of people say they support something. Show me the vote. Those are the folks that support something. Thank you. Kristen, I know you're over there. Thank Senator Casey for his unyielding support of this project. Special thanks to the Pocono Mountain Visitor Bureau for their support for all of this. As a former representative from Monroe County back in the early 2000s, the Visitor Bureau, the Vacation Bureau, has always been a strong advocate for this effort. Chris, thank you so much for your leadership tonight and through the decades with respect to the success of what we have. I work for an impatient governor. His name is Josh Shapiro, and you might have heard of him. And every now and then he sent me to Philadelphia to try and repair a bridge that collapses on I-95. And when I do that, I rely on really capable people in PennDOT to help support the exercises and efforts that we have across the state. An unsung person in this room tonight, with the gold jacket over by the door, is Meredith Pajika. Meredith is the Deputy Secretary for Local Motor Transportation. When I'm standing at Coppin Ave in Philadelphia, it's Meredith that makes sure that the application that was submitted to the FRA for the Corridor ID program was terrific, and it was. Meredith, thank you. Tyler, thank you for all you've done assembling this crowd. The Mike Carroll way would have been a lot harder. It would have involved a lot of phone calls and U.S. mail. He figured out a better way to do it. It's called email. I can tell you this, I am so happy to be here tonight to celebrate with all of you. And I know this project has always enjoyed local support. And I suspect and know for a fact that there are people in this room, not just from Lackawanna and Monroe County, but Wayne and Pike, Susquehanna and Carbon, Luzerne, and probably counties in the Lehigh Valley and beyond those counties that I just listed. The residents of all of those counties that constitute northeastern Pennsylvania will be the beneficiaries of this project as well. It does not just mean people from Lackawanna and Monroe County are winners. All of northeastern Pennsylvania are winners tonight, and we thank the people from those counties that are with us tonight as well. So we've always had wonderful local support. We've always had state support. Governor Wolf, to his credit, and his team at PennDOT that preceded me, they have always been supportive of the train. I know when President Biden came to Scranton, Governor Wolf was in attendance, and PennDOT and the governor at the time extended their full support, and that of course continues with Governor Shapiro. I always believed that New Jersey was a sincere partner with the full knowledge that New Jersey Transit had financial challenges that would have made this really difficult for them. And I wasn't sure how we were going to overcome the financial challenges New Jersey Transit had. But the BIL solved that problem. And again, the support that we get as a result of the BIL and our wonderful, wonderful partners at Amtrak really do solve a real problem that existed prior to the passage of the BIL. So the folks at Amtrak, thank you for your presence today. I appreciate it. I know that all of northeastern Pennsylvania looks forward to the partnership that we will have, making sure that we have wonderful passenger rail service from Scranton to Mount Pocono to East Stroudsburg and on into New Jersey and New York. It's a celebratory night. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. We deserve to take a victory lap. This is a victory lap. I thank everybody for bringing this together tonight. I can tell you that Governor Shapiro, by extension through me and Meredith, stand behind this project fully. $125 million makes me a little bit queasy, but he said it, and by God, we're going to do it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Also, as Mike mentioned, we're very fortunate to have folks here from, senior folks here from Amtrak, and I'd like to introduce the Amtrak Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer, Elliot Hamish. Elliot.
I'm feeling pumped up after that. That felt good. Blood rushing. So I appreciate a lot of folks in here are local. Did anybody spend time on 380 or 80 earlier today? How painful was that? How excited are you to spend less time doing that and more time on a train? So, as mentioned, my name is Elliot Hamish. Pleasure to be here with you all this evening. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer of Amtrak. And I have to tell you again, just thrilled to be with you here this evening. I'm a relative newbie, so 3 months into my role at Amtrak, which is less than the 53 years that I heard this gentleman has been spending in and around the world of trains. Congratulations. Just an amazing career, an amazing celebratory opportunity to be here together this evening. So I mentioned I'm new. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. This is my first public speaking event with Amtrak, 3 months in. I will say, not a coincidence. I'm here this evening, opportunities before this moment to speak in public, but I chose tonight to be here with you because of the celebratory nature of this. There has been so much effort, so much time, so much teamwork, so much partnership and collaboration to get here this evening. Again, it's just a pleasure to be a part of it, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak with you for just a few minutes this evening. So thank you for having me. So it gave me great pride as I saw the map pulled up on the screen this evening. I grew up in Ithaca, New York. So as you, shout out. So as you go up the train line that is to be in just a few short years, you hit Ithaca eventually. And there are a lot of similarities between Ithaca and the Scranton area, and the Poconos more broadly. Both charming, both great restaurants, great culture, rich histories. But unfortunately, neither Ithaca nor this area have train access. And in parallel, residents and visitors of Scranton and the surrounding areas haven't been shy about their desire to have a train route, recognizing the significant benefits that come from rail travel, including just a handful. One, faster and more efficient transportation alternatives for work, life, and travel. Two, decreasing your carbon footprint, since trains are significantly more environmentally friendly. Number 3, opportunity to stay productive while on board. Guess who wasn't productive on Route 80 this evening? Me. Right? Next time, as I ride the train up to your neck of the woods here, I will be, and I look forward to that. And easier travel to and from city centers, which I know everybody here is particularly excited about without having to worry about parking. Luckily, we found a space out here this evening. Going the other way to New York City might not be so lucky. So look forward to that. And that's why the New York City to Scranton corridor is one of the many important projects of the Corridor ID program, which we've talked about a bit this evening. $84 million of economic benefits to the area on an annual basis is nothing short of incredible. It's something we all look forward to being a part of. So just a bit more about Amtrak. When Amtrak and our partners began talking about the Scranton-New York City service, we were confident that it would reach the point that it has today. After all, in 2019, more than 27 million people visited the Scranton area, the majority of whom were visiting from New York City area in general, for scenic getaways, like the beautiful resort that we're in this evening, other popular ski and indoor water park areas, hiking trails, and parks. And the increase in tourism and excitement about rail travel that we're seeing here in Scranton is really reflective of what we're seeing across the country. People love to ride trains, and our ridership demand continues to grow. A few numbers for you. Just a few weeks ago, we announced our fiscal year 2023 results, which wrapped in September. This is the same day as our big Hudson Tunnel project, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, broke ground in New Jersey. One of the most critical infrastructure projects in the country and a really important component of this corridor as well, as this route will ultimately travel through that very tunnel to help experience a more reliable trip. 28.6 million customers rode on Amtrak trains in 2023. That's up nearly 25% from the prior year. So demand is incredible. Fueled in significant part by growth on the Northeast Corridor, ridership is continuing to boom. Again, that's the same Northeast Corridor that this route will link to, which is allowing easy access to a host of cities in the Northeast: Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C., just to name a few. Also enabling easier access to places like Chicago, Miami, and New Orleans as well. So this is really an opportunity to connect with a vast array of cities across the country. This corridor is going to help us to double our ridership by 2040 to 66 million customers from what we had in 2019, which is right around the 33 million mark. It's about access, it's about connections, and it's about a more efficient and environmentally friendly way to travel. So before I pass the mic along, just a few shout outs. One, to Representative Cartwright, thank you very much for what you've done. An incredible champion of the project. A huge shout out as well to Senators Casey and Fetterman for their support of this project. I mentioned I had the honor of sitting next to Larry this evening. Larry, amongst others, have been working on this for just so incredibly long. Congratulations to you, congratulations to the entire team of folks that have, again, worked so hard to bring this to life. And finally, I want to thank everyone here, all the local residents who have been stalwart proponents of this project for the entire duration, and together with our elected officials, partners, and all of you, happy to be here this evening and look forward to our continued work together to make sure that we bring this route to life. So thank you all.
Elliot, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. We appreciate it. Now, the person we would like to introduce coming to the microphone, I think, is the one really who should enjoy a lot of adulation this evening for this celebration. He'll also kind of talk about what the next steps are, but before he does, I just want to say how great it has been to know him and to see that if you believe in something and work at it long enough, that the dreams can truly come true. So right now I'd like to introduce President Larry Lusky of the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Railroad Authority. Larry.
Thank you all. Thank you. That was very, very nice. I just want to know why everyone added 3 more years to my career, though. I added it up, and it's older than I am. So there's something wrong with that. And the other thing is, I mean, it only took us 40 years. So, you know, it is what it is. But thank you all. It is a night for celebration. There's no doubt about it. When we started the project, people like myself and Bob Hay and many, many others, so many others that are here tonight, you know, we're meeting in fire halls and basements and garages and hoping to assemble people at the grassroots level to realize what this means to northeastern Pennsylvania. And to see the culmination of it all here tonight is really, really something astounding. I also wanted to thank a few people who very seldom get any credit, and that's the board members on my board. And these rail authorities that were put together by the Monroe County Commissioners and the Lackawanna County Commissioners, who also don't get credit sometimes for all the you know, the grass level work that it took to put this coalition and coalitions together. You know, we had some real ups and downs. When we started this thing, we didn't even own any of the railroads. They were either being abandoned or ripped up. And many people, you know, there were critics, and there's always going to be critics, but there were critics saying, what are you doing this for? You know, if the big railroads couldn't make a go of it, why are you putting taxpayer money into these rail lines, that, half of which, some of which are, like I said, being ripped up by the private companies? Well, we knew that once you lose a transportation asset, like a highway, an airport, or a railway, it very seldom comes back, and it's very difficult to put back. So we gave it a good college try to put together the type of coalitions to save these rail lines. And again, to the critics on just saving the rail lines, again, when we bought them, there weren't any trains running. There were places where trees were growing between the ties and the tracks. From that perspective, from the economic development perspective, the Pocono main line between Scranton and the Delaware Water Gap, all through Lackawanna and Monroe counties now, is a vibrant economic corridor. We've located 10 new industries into Pennsylvania from other states, in other countries for that matter, which are providing thousands of good family-sustaining type jobs with real wages that allow people and families who have had children to stay in this area and get jobs in this area, like the flour mill in Mount Pocono, and the wood manufacturing plant down in Cresco, Keystone Propane in Tobyhanna, the Tobyhanna Army Depot. We were instrumental back when the base closing issue was a very hot topic, and there was issues with maybe keeping Tobyhanna open. The fact that the rail was preserved became a major economic checkpoint to keep that facility existing and growing. So it gives you some idea that these aren't just transportation projects, they're economic development projects. They actually are more economic development projects than just transportation options. But let me tell you a little bit about this train. I've ridden Amtrak all across the country. I've ridden their corridor trains, I've ridden their long distance trains, and it's a different mode of transportation. The quality of travel on these trains is like nothing you experience on a commuter train or a bus or your automobile. The corridor trains that are going to service our corridor, 3 each way a day, 1 in the morning, 1 midday, 1 in the afternoon, evening, daily, every day, 365, will give you the ability to get up, walk the train, stretch your legs, go to a cafe dining car, have breakfast, lunch, dinner, full beverage service all day long. A Wi-Fi equipped, it would be an extension of your office if you so choose, or you can just sit back, sleep, and enjoy, and like I said, go to the cafe dining car. It's a whole different quality of life travel. And it's because of that these Amtrak corridors have established economic development to the extent that the speakers mentioned today, 84 million per year. An example of what our corridor is going to look like in 10 years is the Downeaster service. It's an Amtrak corridor between Boston and Portland, Maine. Now, if you look at Boston, that's not New York City, and if you look at Portland, that's really not Scranton. They're much smaller. But to give you an example, from New York City to Scranton along our corridor, the Downeaster started about 10 or a little bit more than 10 years ago with about 3 trains each way a day, which is a good level of service. They're up to 5 now, and they're looking to expand to 7. that corridor, it does go through some tourism areas along the coast of Maine and things of that nature. But again, if you compare that corridor, which is highly successful, to the attributes that are on our corridor between New York City, all of New Jersey, all of Northeast PA, and the booming renaissance of the tourism recreation industry in the Poconos, I would say there's almost no comparison. That is the indicia of what our corridor is going to look like times 10 in 10 years. That's my prediction, and I hope I'm here to see it, because I probably will still be working. But anyhow, that's besides the point. But as far as what's happening right now, I want to thank, again, our Commander-in-Chief, Congressman, who has really put the spark back into the locomotive. I want to thank Senator Casey, who's been there all along. You know, I could tell one story about being in Governor Casey's office many years ago, when we were just putting this together, and Conrail was ripping up the Pocono main line. And we sat in his office and we made our pitch, and he said, well, we've got to save that. And it was because of people like him in the past that we were able to save it. At those critical times that might have been the death knell for the corridor, there was always someone there to save it. And with the coalition that we put together now, on the federal level, the state level, and the local level, we've never had that level of players together. And that's why we're going to be successful this time. But I'd like to just take a couple last seconds to, again, thank the people on my board of directors who don't get the credit, but are there through all the days and the meetings and our board meetings and what transpires on an annual basis with the authorities to just keep the things that we're doing going the way they're going. And some are here tonight, and I'm just going to mention their names. Dominic Keating, Greg Christine, Charlie Garris, Jerry Weinberger, Jim Tierney, Jim McLaughlin, Andy Ford, and I have to take a minute to give credit to Bob Hay. Bob Hay was there with me in the 80s at those garages and those fire halls where we were speaking to 10, 20, 30 people at times to try to, put forth what we need to do. I have to tell a quick story too. We spoke at one, I think it was a garage or a fire hall, and it was a very successful night. We had about 25 people there, and there were a few women there who said, we're for this. We're going to help you raise money. We're going to have a bake sale. We're going to start having bake sales, and we're going to get the money we do the sales. So that just shows you what it took from the genesis of getting to where we are today. But I have to thank two other people too. My right arm over these 40 years has been Charlene Wagner-Doyle. And how she put up with me, I don't know, but she's still here, and that's the only reason I'm standing here. And last but most important, my wife, Mary Malsky, I'd like her to stand up. Because anyone married to a railroader for 53 years, that award is going to her. But I want to thank you all. The other parties that I really have to leave you with as being the most important, again, we have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local levels all together. We've never had that level of participation in coalition. But Governor Josh Shapiro, Mike Carroll, and Meredith Kajika, who is our ground general, it's just to give you a little idea of what's going to happen next. We've already been conducting Zoom meetings between PennDOT, Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Railroad Authority, and New Jersey Transit, all three of which are signed on to the application with the federal government, with the FRA for this corridor. And we believe we've got one of the best applications in, and we also believe that we've done our homework already. And because of our relationship with Amtrak, coming out of the box like we did early, and contracting with Amtrak, in which our authority paid Amtrak $400,000 to do some of the studies that are going to go into, and I know everyone says, well, we're tired of having studies, but unfortunately you don't get federal, state, or local money if you don't have your homework done, and that translates into studies. We've done it, we've got it all done. We believe we're going to be one of the first applications to move through the FRA's 1, 2, 3-step process. We kind of basically feel we've got steps 1 and 2 done already. I've got to reduce them to writing and to their specs, but that's what we'll be doing over the next few months, meeting with the FRA and Amtrak. And last but not least, we have to thank Amtrak for their participation, their support, and their deep interest in seeing this corridor come to fruition. They know the studies they did for us was based on their 50 years of operating these corridors. So they're not pie in the sky numbers that they put forth. They're based on 50 years of experience from their actual corridors, and they speak for themselves. And I think they highlight our corridor as one of the best of the 69 corridors that have been picked to go forward. And we believe we're in the top 5, maybe top 3. That's our prognostication. But we think we're in that category, and we think we have that quality of work done. So we're looking forward to go forward, and I want to thank all of you and all the other people in this audience who helped us over the years. Thank you very much.
Larry, thank you so much. Before we close out the presentation, we did ask if there are any questions. I want to say that we will be posting answers to the questions at the Pocono Mountains website. When you registered at poconomountains.com/rail. I also want to say that we'll commit to a campaign of ensuring all you folks know what's going on. We do have all your email addresses, so we'll help Larry get the word out as to what the steps are, because we really, really want to see this happen and support it as well. But some of these questions were picked, and I think Congressman Cartwright will address some of those probably along with Larry.
Hey, one guy we didn't give a hand and a vote of thanks to was this guy, Chris Barrett. How about it? Guy knows how to put a gathering together, doesn't he? All right, we did get a bunch of questions, and as he said, all of them will be answered online, but I thought I'd touch on the kind of the most common ones and the ones that many of you are wondering about too. Number one, how long a trip is it if you go all the way from Scranton to New York City? Because you hear people say, oh, it'll be a 4-hour trip, nobody wants that trip. No, it's going to be 2 hours and 50 minutes, 250, all the way from Scranton to New York City. And of course, from Mount Pocono and East Stroudsburg, it's going to be a much shorter trip because you don't have the mountainous terrain to go over, and it's pretty much a straight shot. So people are going to be impressed about how short a trip it is. How long will it take to start? When are we going to see these trains turning around in East Stroudsburg and Scranton? Typically it takes about 3 years to do the construction, and we're looking at probably to get through rounds 2 and 3. Even though I think it'll be quicker than other routes for the reasons Larry mentioned, we're probably talking a couple of years conservatively. So overall, the end of 2028 is my best estimate, and next one is how much will it cost to build this railroad? And the answer is that's what the next couple of steps are going to do. They're going to go through costing it. Now, Larry mentioned we've already gone ahead and done these studies. We've got cost studies, we've got environmental impact studies done, and so much of the work that Amtrak and the Federal Railroad Administration have to do is just updating the work that we've done already. But to figure out how much it costs is involved, and you need qualified engineers to do it. Two of the biggest items are on easels in front of you, and these are pictures that were taken by Jonas Crass over here, who is a photographer in the Army Reserve. These were taken this past weekend, and you can see these structures are massive, and it looks like it would take a thermonuclear bomb to budge them, but there is a lot of surface repair work to be done, and that has to be detailed very closely before we come up with a full cost for the program. How much will the fares be? Well, here's where, as Larry mentioned, the Downeaster is a very similar project. And it went from Boston up into Maine, Freeport, Maine. A couple of stops past Portland, Maine. But there's a place called Wells, Maine where it stops, and that's 83 miles from Boston. Pretty much about the same distance between here and New York City, right? So I looked it up. Yes, Larry, there are 5 trains a day. The first train you pick up in Wells, Maine at 5:50 a.m. and it gets to Boston at 7:50 a.m. So that's something that if you want to, if you're doing that commute, that's a great option. How much does it cost? That costs $42 round trip. And you think, oh gosh, that's going to add up, 5 times a week. But if you get a monthly pass, which Amtrak very kindly offers, that's $349 a month. All right, suppose you work 20 days a month. That turns out to be $17.45 per round trip. Okay, another one is, by your estimates, we're talking about 470,000 people a year move, but there's a lot more than that that actually do that commute. Folks, the idea is not to have every single breathing person getting on Amtrak. It's to provide an option, because not everybody will. People still want to drive their cars. People still want to get on the bus. I did check out the competing bus prices, and they are competitive with what I just quoted to you from what they're charging right now on the Downeaster line. Where will the stops be? Well, right now we're looking at East Stroudsburg, right there on Crystal Street, and right here in Mount Pocono. And be assured that we are keeping our eyes on the prize. We're not going to locate it someplace where you can't get to, where you can't park, where you can't pull buses into, shuttle buses. We're going to do all of that because the point of the exercise is to build up our local economy. So we're going to make darn sure there's going to be access to all the shuttle buses and all the parking and everything you want to make this a success. So that's it. East Stroudsburg, Mount Pocono, and Scranton. And Scranton will be near the intermodal, right near the Trolley Museum. A perfect place for that. And now it'll actually be an intermodal, not just a bus station. And what makes us so confident that we're going to get through this process of 3 steps? We're through step 1 because of the advantages, and Larry Mowski just mentioned them. Number 1, publicly owned right-of-way. Nobody has to shell out money to private landowners. These bridges, they're on publicly owned land. The rail in New Jersey that's going to be built, publicly owned right-of-way. So we don't have to pay rent to privately owned rail companies, and they know how to charge, believe me. FRA likes that. As I mentioned, number 2, we have so many of our ducks in line because we've kept our heads down and working away and ignoring setbacks and continuing to work on the project. And because of that, we are just about shovel ready, as you might say. And number 3, the overwhelming advantage of the economic development upside for northeastern Pennsylvania, because a lot of those other projects, maybe they're just adding another train to an existing line. There's no indication there will be any additional economic development from those. With ours, they pointed specifically, in comparison with other places like the Downeaster, they see what happens. You start a new line, all of a sudden office parks spring up, and residential developments, and factories along the way. And people want to ride that train to get to those places, and so it's kind of like priming the pump. What we have is just a juggernaut of economic activity and development, and FRA is going to see that, and that is a big piece of why we're very confident that this project is going forward, and at long last, it will succeed. Thank you all for very much.
will have these questions answered at PoconoMountains.com/rail. We'll be giving updates there as well. First, please put your hands together for the staff here at Kalahari. And as we leave, there are some refreshments to please help us celebrate this evening. And finally, I would like to thank everybody who's watching us live on the Pocono Television Network. Thank you for being with us. And we will see you in Kilimanjaro Lounge. Have a good evening, and thanks to these folks for coming in.